Hi, I'm Sandy from the Saskatchewan Science Centre, and I'm here today with my dear friend Diana Bai. She's a yoga teacher and a meditation instructor, and she's going to talk to us a little bit about mental health and wellness, particularly in these really difficult times that we're all experiencing. So welcome, Diana, and thank you very much for joining me today.
Thanks for having me.
It's great to see you. You look awesome.
Thanks.
Let's just start with, you're a mom of 3 young children, one that is just only a few weeks old. So first of all, congratulations. I'm really excited for you. But my first question really is, how are you? How are you managing to juggle 3 young children while you're in lockdown in this time of craziness?
I don't know. That is my answer. I don't actually think I'm quote unquote juggling as much as I'm just kind of surviving. So Henry, my newest babe, is only 2.5 weeks old. And honestly, we're just trying to come together as a family as much as we can, spend time getting to be familiar with one another. And yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now. I'm certainly not winning at the mom game. You could ask my 5-year-old, she will tell you that. But I think it's really important right now for me to be gentle with myself, because we're still somewhat quarantined, somewhat isolated, and I just need to be gentle.
Yeah, good for you. Yeah, I'm sure you're doing just fine with a 5-year-old.
I'm trying.
Because clearly it is a challenge to be in lock time and keep your children occupied. And so what advice would you give parents? One of my staff, actually, in preparing for this today, said, please ask her on how to help me teach my children how to meditate.
Oh, yeah. Well, first of all, if you're a parent and you're thinking about teaching your child to meditate, bravo. I believe that this is where we need to take our kids, mainly because they need to learn to cope with stressors and anxiety and fear and all the things that come around as they age and get a little bit older. So the first thing, actually, there's 2 things, Sandy, that I would say to this. The first thing would be breath. So just teach them to breathe. Inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth. Inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth. And do it at specific times when they are actually freaking out. And all of our kids freak out. You're not alone. So, when they're having to freak out because their sister doesn't want to give them something, or they're in the store and they're not getting something that they want to, get down to their level and say, okay, let's breathe. Let's breathe. So inhale the good, exhale, like actually exhale. And what I do with my kids is I'll hold my hand out just like this, and I'll get them to breathe hard enough that I can feel it on my hand. So that's the first thing, focus on breath. The second thing is, before they go to bed at night, when you're in there and you're tucking them in, ask them, what are 3 things that you really loved today? Or it doesn't have to be 3 things. You can say, what's something that you really loved today? And what's something that wasn't really your favorite today? And what that does is it teaches them to be more mindful of what happened that day, and a little bit of reflection in there as well.
You mentioned mindfulness. So tell us a little bit about what exactly does that mean, not just for children, but for us adults.
Yes. So mindfulness is very, very simply put, being present in the moment, but listen to this part, without judgment.
Perfect.
So being present in the moment without judgment. So if you listen to your internal dialogue, you might hear, from time to time, you might hear, oh, I'm just so stupid to even think that, or man, that's stupid, or that's the silliest thing I think I've ever heard. Why am I thinking that? Or any kind of degrading thoughts that we have, you need to become mindful of those and not judge them. Because we all develop habits that are not necessarily the greatest when it comes to self-talk. So if we can moderate through mindfulness and just learn, okay, so tomorrow I'll try better. I'll try to do better. So if you start to kind of hear those thoughts in your head again, you can start again. You can start at any moment. So it's the judgment piece of it that a lot of people miss out. You're not to shame yourself or shame other people or feel bad for feeling bad or thinking bad thoughts about people, just notice them. And then with your gentle, loving curiosity, you can kind of figure out, okay, why do I feel that way?
Right.
What's really going on inside of me? And then you can kind of start to explore the whole world of meditation and mindfulness.
And excellent. That's very interesting. And particularly right now, it's particularly something that we all need to be paying attention to.
Yeah, absolutely.
So recently, there was a survey that I read about from McGill University, and increasingly Canadians are reporting severe feelings of anxiety, depression, and loneliness. Obviously, we're in a a pandemic. People are locked down at home in quarantine. And people in the study were talking about nervousness, edginess, trouble relaxing. I mean, there's a whole array of things that people are feeling right now, and I certainly can relate. So, what advice might you have for people that are trying to cope with their current situation?
Ooh. So there's a few reasons for feeling edgy. Anxious, nervous, any of the kind of, I call them fear-based emotions. And there's nothing wrong with feeling those things, by the way, again, without judging them. We really just need to kind of feel out how we're feeling. One of the biggest things right now is expectations. So in this whole COVID time and in life in general, we'll flip on our social media and we'll see Sally, who is knocking it out of the ballpark at work, or she's, doing wonderful things with her business, or, we'll see Joe and he's just ripped because he's been working out at his home gym. And meanwhile, we're at home and gaining, 25 pounds because we're not at the gym. Mm-hmm. Those comparisons and expectations that we make when we see people, we're like, why am I not doing that? Those will cause anxiety, nervousness, feelings of anger towards yourself instead of being gentle. So it's really important to understand that you don't need to be like your neighbor or look like your neighbor or your best friend. What you do need is what you need. But the only way to figure out what you need is not by listening to me or you or anybody else. It's to sit down with yourself and to go, okay, how am I feeling? What do I need? What kind of exercise do I need? What do I need to feel my body? What kind of people do I need to surround myself with? So these things are really important when you're trying to combat anxiousness, nervousness, and any of those things that you mentioned. The other thing is the news. I love the news. News junkie. I listen to it, I watch it. But at the end of the day, if you're fueling yourself with negativity from the news, negativity from social media, negativity from people in your life, that decreases your feelings of being good. It decreases your feelings of being okay in the situation. You become almost obsessed with kind of the not so great stuff in life. And we have a choice every day. And you know this, you have a choice to focus on the good or to focus on the bad. So if you can take COVID and go, okay, you know what, this sucks. It's absolutely horrible. So-and-so lost their job. I lost my job. Whoever else lost their job. Where is the good in this? So if you can train your mind to think about, okay, so the good part is I can sit back and I can go, okay, what do I need in life? That would be kind of the starting point to start to feel better.
Something I learned from you, Diana, is about journaling and having a gratitude journal. Is that something that would be wise to start at this particular time when people are feeling low?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And of course, like if you're sitting there and you're watching this and you're thinking, oh my gosh, like I feel so terrible, go see a psychologist or a doctor. Medication, of course, is always an option. But at the end of the day, if this is kind of something that just is coming up, gratitude journal, write down what you're grateful for, get into that more positive headspace. And that will absolutely help you live and feel more positive.
Right. Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I think that encouraging people to seek out help. I can't emphasize that enough. It's people are struggling, and people need to seek out those resources. So finding things
Absolutely.
online or through healthcare professionals is critical at this time.
Yeah. And one of the biggest things that I've seen with a lot of the clients that I've worked with, Sandy, is lots of people will say, well, I don't want to go on medication. No, I don't want to go on medication. And, you know, I remember I was in my early 20s and I was medicated for a general anxiety disorder as well as depression in my 20s. Like, and I think back to that and I think I was just lost. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't know how to do it. But that medication helped me actually get to a point where I could dig myself out of the hole that I was in and start making some better decisions.
Right.
Because oftentimes when we're feeling terrible and low and down, we don't make good decisions. We make the decisions like, I'll have that other bottle of wine instead of I'll go outside for a walk, or, you know, I'll eat that whole banana loaf instead of sitting and meditating for 20 minutes. So we just don't necessarily make the best decisions when we're feeling really low.
So yeah, good advice. So I've known you for many years, but you talked about, you know, a low time in your 20s. So tell us just a little bit about your journey. How did you were a professional working in a business environment, and now you're a mom and a yoga teacher. What made you change careers at the point in time that you did?
I spent a lot of time in sales, and I had a couple of different very lucrative careers in sales, and yes, it was awesome. But about 15 years ago, I started down the journey of yoga and physical fitness. Now, I've always been fascinated with movement, always, like for years and years and years. I was a gymnast starting at age 5 until about 15 or 16. I coached gymnastics. I just love movement so much. So as I kind of went down this road with, and I have many, many mentors, but I kind of went down this road of yoga and then physical fitness and teaching fitness classes and good old fashioned aerobics. And I really realized that it decreased cortisol, which is my stress hormone, and we all have it. And it increased my endorphins, my serotonin. I felt amazing. And you know the feeling, right? And anybody watching this, like, you know the feeling when you kind of get out there and you get moving and you get your body going. And so long story short, I decided, I was teaching fitness classes for quite some time. And then I decided, you know what, I'm going to do my yoga teacher training and see where that takes me. And I knew in my heart that I would end up teaching it because I can share a lot of quote unquote self-help through yoga by self-discovery. So I'm not necessarily telling you what to do or how to feel. I'm coaching you to be able to explore how you feel. And as we're moving, in combination with thinking about that stuff, what happens is, I mean, you open up to a whole new world that you didn't know before. And that's really what yoga does. So that's what got me kind of addicted, for lack of a better word. So, and then the meditation piece, of course, came with it. So about 13 years ago, I started meditating and came off medication. Now, I'm not saying, because there's a lot of controversy, I'm not saying meditation instead of medication. Do both. Do one, do the other, do whatever works for you. But for me personally, I was able to get a healthy physical, mental, and emotional state through meditation. And it's not really magic. It's stopping and sitting and doing the work to become more mindful in my life. And once I did that, I was hooked on it. And then I got some training on meditation and mindfulness. And I just kept up. I read and I read, and it's one of those things that there's always new stuff. And there's of course super old traditions, 5,000-year-old traditions of meditation and mindfulness. And I integrate them, the new and the old. I kind of like to do that. So I try to make them usable for everybody in this day and age. So that's a little bit about my journey.
Thank you. Well, your passion and your joy and your light comes out. I can say that personally because I've been going to your yoga classes for almost 5 years now.
I miss you. I miss you.
We all miss you. So it was a delight to have you join me today, Diana. And one of the things that you do at the end of our classes is a beautiful mantra. So I invite you to do that with me today to end our conversation.
I will do that. So I like to just recommend that you take your hands, place into your heart center, and just close your eyes. Just know that the love, the light, and the kindness in me recognizes the love, the light, and the kindness in you. Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you so much, Diana. That was fantastic.
You're welcome. You're welcome.